Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be reading the 14th Goldfish, chapter 22, Growing Pains. My grandfather walks into the kitchen a few mornings later, carrying a bottle of pain pills. He pours a glass of water and pops a handful of pills. Are you okay? I ask him. He's pale, with dark circles under his eyes. He doesn't look good. I'm having growing pains, he grits out, pointing to his legs. The T. Malvinas must be regenerating my bones. Does it hurt a lot? I ask. Let's just say I know what it felt like to be tortured on the rack. My dad's back in town for the weekend. He appears at our front door after lunch, wearing worn out jeans and a black t-shirt, carrying his toolbox. Dad, I shout and fling myself at him. Reporting for duty, he tells me, holding up his toolbox. I hear there's a toilet that needs fixing. My grand my my father is handsome. I don't say that just because I'm his daughter. He's the kind of man who women stop and stare at when he walks into a room. He's got thick curly black hair and dark brown eyes. He's usually cast as a rake or the hero in a play. I miss working with my assistant. He winks at me. I brought your hammer. To pay the bills when I was little, my dad did carpentry work and odd jobs, hauling me around in my baby carrier. When I started teething, I chewed the wooden handle of one of his hammers. It still has bite marks on it. Where's your mother? He asks. At the high school. They're having trouble with the light board, I tell him. She says you're cooking dinner. He looks around. You're here by yourself? No, Melvin's in the den. Oh, right, he says. She mentioned something about some long lost cousin crashing in. Well, let's get that toilet out of the way. We settle down in the bathroom, and my father snakes the toilet and takes the lid off and tinkers around with the inside. That should do it, he says. You want to do the honors? I flush and the water goes down. You should have been a plumber, I say. He gives a wiry smile. I would have made a whole lot more money, that's for sure. My grandfather walks into the bathroom holding the catcher in the rye. He freezes when he sees my dad. He sees my father. You must be Melvin, my father says. I'm Ellie's dad, Jeremy. He holds out his hand. My grandfather doesn't reciprocate. Did you wash that hand? He asks. Toilet water is clean, my father says. Then drink it, my grandfather replies. We stand there for a minute. Then my grandfather holds up his book. You gonna stand around yapping all day? My grandfather asks. I have homework to finish. My father makes risotto for dinner. We sit outside on our tiny patio, and the adults drink red wine, and my grandfather and I have soda. Between the crisp air, the good food, and my parents trading gossip about theater friends, it feels like I'm watching a favorite television show, except this time my grandfather has a guest role as a silent, moody teenager. Or maybe he isn't acting. My father and grandfather have never exactly been buddies. When my parents first got married, my grandfather said some things to my father that involved the words punk, my daughter, and knocked up. Needless to say, there's no way we can let my dad in on the little secret about Melvin. My grandfather turns to my dad. So I hear you're an actor. How's that working out for you? Pretty good, actually, he says. The tour of our production has been extended for another year. That's wonderful, Jeremy, my mother enthuses. Congrats, Dad, I say. My grandfather doesn't look very impressed. He says, lots of money performing in Peoria. I'm in the union, my dad says. I've got to I've got a great benefit package. My grandfather grunts. My dad smiles at him, faintly curious. You remind me of someone, he says. Really? My grandfather says. Who? Just an old guy, one of those grumpy types. Actually, you're distantly related to him. Guess Melvin is a family name. My mom and I share a worried look. Then, without a word, my grandfather gets up and goes inside. My father turns to my mother. Interesting kid, he says. Teenagers, my mom says with a careless roll of her shoulders. I'll clear, I offer, and start picking up dishes. My parents beam at me. I stack the plates, and what I see when I go into the kitchen almost makes me drop them. My grandfather is pouring red wine into a plastic cup. What are you doing? I hiss. What does it look like I'm doing? He says and drinks from the cup. But you can't. Why not? He grumbles. It's not like I'm underage, and I need something to dull the pain. My legs are killing me. The wine loosens my grandfather's tongue, and he starts to make even more snarky remarks at the dinner table. To be or not to be 13, that is the question, he says. My parents are deep in conversation and don't seem to notice what's going on. We move inside because it's getting chilly, congregating around the kitchen table. I'm going to the bathroom. My grandfather announces and walks out. My mother shakes her head and turns to my dad. Were you like this as a teenage boy? I'm not sure. A puzzled look crosses my dad's face. Mostly, I remember being embarrassed by my parents all the time. She changes the subject. So spill. How's Francois? She makes quote quotes with her hands when she says the name. Francois, I know, is a director of Les Miserables. You mean besides having a French name, but actually being from Long Island? I knew it was a fake accent, my mom says. He had a good speech coach somewhere along the line. The toilet flushes. My father adds, also, his ego is bigger than a blimp. The toilet flushes again. Did you fix it? My mom asks him. I fixed it, my father insists. I think of all the pain pills Melvin took earlier. Worry spikes through me. Maybe we should check on him, I suggest. We find my grandfather hunched in front of the toilet, throwing up. Oh no, do you have food poisoning? My mom asks when my grandfather turns a grave face to her. My father sniffs and looks furious. Since when does food poisoning smell like red wine? Bye guys, thank you for watching my video. If you don't want to miss out on any of my videos, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the new chapter. Bye!